The year is 1302, the place Anatolia, a land of rolling hills and ancient empires. In this crucible of history, a new power is rising. The Ottoman Turks, led by the visionary Osman Gazi, are poised to challenge the old order. Their target, the mighty fortress of Karacahisar, a seemingly impregnable bastion of the Byzantine Empire. The clash between these two forces will echo through the centuries, marking a turning point in history, the birth of an empire and the beginning of the end for Byzantine dominance in Anatolia. This is the story of the Battle of Karacahisar. The Battle of Karacahisar was not just about conquering a fortress, it was about legitimacy, ambition, and the relentless march of fate. Osman Gazi's victory would reverberate throughout the region, establishing the Ottomans as a major force on the world stage. It would lay the foundation for what would become one of the most powerful empires in history, an empire that would span centuries and continents. To understand Karacahisar's significance, one must know Osman Gazi. Born into conflict, Osman was a natural leader, skilled warrior, and shrewd politician. He inherited a small principality on the collapsing Byzantine Empire's fringes. The weakened Byzantines presented both a challenge and an opportunity. Osman, a devout Muslim, saw himself as a Ghazi, a warrior of Islam. He united his followers with faith and purpose. Osman's charisma and leadership inspired his troops. He forged alliances and united Turkish tribes. This unity became a hallmark of Ottoman success. Karacahisar, the Black Castle, stood as a sentinel on the Byzantine frontier. This imposing fortress, perched atop a steep hill, commanded the surrounding plains and controlled vital trade routes. For the Byzantines, it was a crucial link in their defensive chain, protecting their Anatolian heartland from Turkish incursions. For Osman, it represented a prize of immense strategic and symbolic value. The fortress was a masterpiece of medieval military engineering. Its high walls, reinforced with towers and battlements, were considered almost impossible to breach. The Byzantines had confidence in Karacahisar's defenses, believing it could withstand any siege. However, they underestimated the ambition and tenacity of Osman Gazi and his warriors. Control of Karacahisar would give Osman a firm foothold in Bithynia, a fertile and prosperous region of Anatolia. It would also serve as a springboard for further conquest, pushing the Ottoman frontier closer to the Byzantine heartland. The capture of such a formidable fortress would be a major blow to Byzantine prestige and morale, further emboldening the Ottomans and their allies. The years leading up to the Battle of Karacahisar were marked by escalating tensions between the Ottomans and the Byzantines. Osman's raids into Byzantine territory grew bolder and more frequent, testing the defenses and probing for weaknesses. The Byzantines, preoccupied with internal problems and conflicts elsewhere, struggled to contain the growing Ottoman threat. Osman's forces weren't the only ones harassing the Byzantines. Local Turkish raiders, often operating independently, also saw an opportunity to exploit the weakening empire. These raids further destabilized the region, making it difficult for the Byzantines to maintain order and defend their borders effectively. This atmosphere of chaos and uncertainty only strengthened Osman's hand. In response to the growing Ottoman pressure, the Byzantine emperor sent reinforcements to Karacahisar, bolstering its garrison and preparing for a siege. He knew that the loss of this fortress would be a serious blow to Byzantine prestige and would embolden the Ottomans further. However, the Byzantine Empire was a shadow of its former self, and its resources were stretched thin across its vast and crumbling territories. In the spring of 1302, Osman Gazi laid siege to Karacahisar. He knew that a direct assault against the fortress's formidable defenses would be costly and likely unsuccessful. Instead, he opted for a patient strategy of siege warfare, aiming to starve the defenders into submission. Osman's forces surrounded the fortress, cutting off its supply lines to the outside world. They harassed any attempts by the Byzantines to break the siege or bring in reinforcements. The Ottomans, skilled horsemen and archers, were adept at hit-and-run tactics, wearing down the defenders and chipping away at their morale. Inside the fortress, the Byzantine garrison prepared for a long and arduous siege. They were well supplied and confident in their ability to withstand the Ottoman assault. However, as weeks turned into months, the reality of their situation began to set in. Food and water supplies dwindled, and the constant pressure from the besiegers took its toll on the defenders' morale. Section 6. A legacy forged in blood and victory. Karacahisar Falls. The siege of Karacahisar dragged on for months, testing the resolve of both sides. Osman, a shrewd strategist, knew that time was on his side. He continued to tighten the noose around the fortress, while also ensuring his troops were well supplied and motivated. The Ottomans, inspired by their leader's unwavering determination, refused to let up the pressure. Inside the fortress, the situation grew increasingly desperate. Food and water were running low, and disease began to spread among the exhausted defenders. The once impenetrable fortress had become a prison. Despite their dwindling resources and flagging spirits, the Byzantine garrison fought bravely, repelling numerous Ottoman assaults. Finally, after months of siege warfare, Karacahisar fell to the Ottomans. The exact circumstances of the final assault are shrouded in legend, but what is certain is that the fortress, once considered impregnable, had fallen to the rising power of the Ottomans. Some accounts suggest that the final assault was aided by treachery from within the fortress, perhaps a sign of the Byzantines' waning grip on power. Section 7. The Aftershocks. Osman's triumph and the expansion of Ottoman power. The fall of Karacahisar sent shockwaves throughout Anatolia. For the Byzantines, it was a crushing defeat, a symbol of their declining fortunes and the rising tide of Ottoman power. The loss of such a strategic fortress exposed their Anatolian heartland, paving the way for further Ottoman expansion. For Osman, it was a monumental victory, solidifying his control over Bithynia and establishing him as the preeminent Turkish leader in the region. The capture of Karacahisar brought with it not just strategic advantage, but also vast riches. The Ottomans plundered the fortress, seizing its treasury and taking many prisoners. These spoils of war further enriched Osman's coffers, allowing him to reward his followers and attract new recruits to his banner. The victory also served as a powerful propaganda tool, attracting more Turks to join the growing Ottoman cause. The victory at Karacahisar had a profound impact on the morale of both sides. The Ottomans were emboldened by their success, their belief in their destiny reinforced by the fall of the seemingly impregnable fortress. The Byzantines, on the other hand, were demoralized by the loss, their confidence shaken by the realization that even their strongest fortifications could not hold back the Ottoman tide. Section 8. A turning point in history, Karacahisar and the birth of an empire. The Battle of Karacahisar marked the rise of the Ottoman Empire and the decline of Byzantine dominance in Anatolia. Osman Gazi, a minor chieftain, proved himself a formidable leader, uniting Turkish tribes under his banner. The fall of Karacahisar laid the foundation for the Ottoman Empire. Osman's victory was seen as a triumph for Islam and a blow against the Christian Byzantine Empire. Section 9. Echoes of the Past. Karacahisar's enduring legacy in modern Turkey. Today, the ruins of Karacahisar stand as a silent testament to this pivotal battle. Located in modern-day Turkey, the site is a reminder of the Ottoman Empire's humble beginnings and the ambition of its founder, Osman Gazi. The battle is still commemorated in Turkey as a foundational moment in the nation's history, a symbol of Turkish strength and resilience. The legacy of Karacahisar extends beyond the battlefield. It is a story of ambition, determination, and the relentless march of history. It reminds us that even the most powerful empires can crumble, and that from their ashes, new powers can rise, reshaping the political landscape and leaving an indelible mark on the world. The Battle of Karacahisar serves as a reminder of the enduring power of the past to shape the present. It is a story that continues to resonate in Turkey and beyond, offering valuable lessons about leadership, ambition, and the ever-changing tides of history. It is a story that reminds us that the world we live in today is shaped by the echoes of battles fought long ago, by the victories and defeats of empires past, and by the enduring legacy of leaders like Osman Gazi.